Welcome back to MotionPic Recap. Today we're going to recap the comedy and action movie titled Keanu. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. Somewhere a kitten is seen in an old church where gangsters are creating drugs. Suddenly, the Allentown brothers arrive, and an intense fight breaks out. The kitten runs across the field while the Allentown brothers totally devastate the place. Suddenly everything gets quiet and a man calls on his dead men. He grabs some cash and tries to leave, but then the Allentown brothers appear, doing rock paper scissors. And as one of the brothers is about to kill him, the kitten appears and they start petting him before continuing what they were doing. Suddenly cops appear to arrest them, and they put down the kitten before shooting the police to death. The kitten escapes and runs through the city. Somewhere else, a man named Clarence is listening to George Michael before calling his cousin Rell. Rell's wife has just left him and he is totally depressed. Clarence says he'll swing by right now. Soon after, Rell hears something scratch on his door, and when he goes to check, he sees a kitten sitting outside. He picks it up, gets happy, and runs to bring it some milk to eat. Meanwhile, Clarence is singing George Michael's song You Gotta Have Faith. As the two cousins meet, Clarence is overly excited to meet the kitten, which Rell has named Keanu, and which both remark is the cutest thing they've ever seen. 2 weeks later, Clarence's wife tells him that she wants him to just relax this weekend. Soon after, they meet their daughter's friend and her dad Spencer, and Clarence's wife and daughter get in the car to go on a weekend adventure with them for their daughter's fun. Later that day, Clarence stops by Rell and sees he's working again, remarking these photos are amazing. Rell says he's not gonna sell the photos however, because he won't exploit Keanu's cuteness. Clarence says the movie starts in 20 minutes and they better go. Rell tells Keanu he will be back later, telling him to scratch up that photo in the meantime, which is of his ex. On their way home, they discuss how great that Liam Neeson movie was, and then remark how all women love bad boys. Rell picks up Clarence's phone and sees he listens to George Michael. He remarks bad boys don't listen to George Michael and instead start playing Fuck the Police and dances around. Suddenly, a police car rolls up beside them and Rell immediately turns down the music, smiling and waving to the cops. As they get back home, they see Rell's door is open. They run in and only find Keanu's collar left. Rell runs out and starts yelling. Later, the police tell them burglars don't usually take pets, but usually are after drugs or things they can sell for drugs. Devastated, Rell goes to talk to his weed dealer Hulka. Clarence is surprised he lives across the way from his weed dealer. Rell tells Hulka his place got broken into and that they took Keanu, and Hulka says he's sorry for his little guy. Rell asks who might want to break into his house, saying they might have taken the wrong house. Hulka says 17th Street Blips, and Clarence asks where they can be found. Hulka says he won't be a rat, but as Rell starts breaking his records collection, Hulka starts begging him to stop, explaining everything, but warns that the Blips leader called Cheddar is a bad motherfucker. Next day, they go to the place, and try to make themselves look more gangster-like. However, the farther in they get at the place, the more nervous they both get. They start telling each other they better get out of there when suddenly a woman comes up to them. Clarence says he's flattered but that he has a wife, and the woman takes his ring and walks away. Rell tells him to leave it, saying he's acting and talking like a white guy and will get in trouble. Suddenly, a woman and a guy appear asking what they want. Clarence suddenly puts in a gangster act and language, saying they want to meet Cheddar. Next up, they are taken to Cheddar. Being asked who they are, Rell says he's called Tectonic and Clarence says he's Shark Tank. Cheddar picks up a gun asking who they are. Clarence says they killed 25 dudes this month. Cheddar asks why he's not seen them before if they're so real. Clarence says they maybe didn't want to be seen. Cheddar asks if they are the Allentown brothers. As they say yes, Cheddar gets happy, saying he heard about that cold thing going down in that church. Suddenly Rell sees Keanu, and gets real serious, asking where Cheddar got him and how much he want him for. Cheddar says he's not for sale, and Rell says real seriously that everything got its price. Thinking a bit, Cheddar says they got this new thing that's not on the market yet, which he calls the holy shit since it feels like God himself has touched you. He says he wants them to follow his men on a run and teach them their Allentown brother stuff, and if they do that they'll get the kitten out of respect. Clarence gets real nervous, but Rell says he's got a deal. On their way out, Clarence tells Rell they gotta get out of there, that he's not ready to sell drugs and go to prison, that he's got a family. Suddenly the woman called High C asks if they're ready. Somewhere else, the real Allentown brothers see some paw prints and pay a visit to Hulka. Meanwhile, the two cousins and Cheddar's gang introduce each other. Afterwards, they ask Clarence and Rell if the word on the street about what happened at the church is real, that they killed more than 100 people and did flips in the air while shooting. They say it's real, and they are asked to show a flip that they did. While Rell tries to explain they won't show any flips, Clarence goes for it and they are all really impressed. Clarence himself is even surprised he did it, but acts cool. Without saying a word, the Allentown brothers are really scaring Hulka. But when kissing a photo of Keanu, he understands they're looking for the cat and explains everything he knows. Meanwhile, the Cousins and Cheddar's gang arrive at the place they're gonna sell the holy shit. Rell and High C enters the house to deliver the drugs. As they ask for their money, one woman picks up a sword. Outside, the gang says they better get some tunes going and puts on music from Clarence's phone, starting to hear George Michael, and wonder what this is, saying it sound kinda white. Clarence get upset, saying George Michael is one of the greatest recording artists of all time, the real OG. They ask if he's black, and Clarence says he's light-skinned and used to roll with this other black dude Ridgely, and when George Michael was trying to that solo thing, nobody saw that Ridgely ever again. Thinking George Michael killed Ridgely, they start liking him. Inside, the woman puts down the sword, and asks her friend to go get the bag. While stacking the money, Rell says he liked her in several of her movies. Suddenly, she says she wants them to do a short truth or dare. In the car, Clarence is singing to George Michael's song Father Figure, and the others start digging the music. Clarence explains George Michael didn't have a father figure in his life, and the others start connecting since they didn't have a father figure either, loving the music. Inside they are asked what the most fucked up thing they have done is, and High C says she once cut off her sister's husband's private part when he cheated on her. To be worse, Rell says he once cut off too, that he sneaked up on these two dudes and cut them off. In the car, Clarence is explaining tactics, saying communication is the backbone of his and Tectonic's teamwork. Suddenly the gang members start sharing personal things about themselves, how they got stabbed and how they got shot, but people and even family members. They ask Clarence to share something about himself, and he shows a scar from a street fight, explaining they took his appendix out, which the others have no idea what it is. Clarence adds they don't even want to hear about what went down with his wisdom teeth. Suddenly, the woman inside dares High C to shoot Rell, putting up a lot of money. She draws her gun, but then hits her instead, telling Rell to grab the cash. The man picks up a gun, and High C starts shooting them all, telling Rell they gotta go. Outside, Clarence and the gang are singing loudly and passionately to a slow George Michael song as the other two come running quickly. High C yells at Clarence to drive, and Rell is in shock. Later that night, Rell tells Clarence these are bad people and they need to get out of here. Clarence however says he's having a great time and that he never goes out and is doing this for his wife, that his wife told him to relax this weekend. High C comes up to him, asking if he's okay. She then thanks him for helping her kill those people back there, and he says she did that on her own. She insists they killed them together, but Rell tries his best to explain he did not help in any way. Rell suddenly tries to kiss her, and she pushes him back, saying he got a little close there. They all go downstairs and start partying, and Rell and Clarence are asked to show how they smoke weed. Rell shows his style, but when it's Clarence's turn, he tries to avoid smoking by saying he only smokes pipes, but is then handed one and is forced to smoke. Clarence asks their friend if he wants some, but is replied he doesn't fuck with that holy shit stuff. Suddenly, Clarence gets real scared seeing the guy having handed him the pipe laying on the floor shaking. But then he starts feeling it, starting to believe he is in heaven. And then he sees George Michael, and then hears his favorite song Faith.
No, that's my favorite fucking song.
And his hips start moving around, laughing and singing along. Then suddenly Keanu Reeves's voice is heard spoken by the Kitten, and some wise Matrix-like quotes are given to him. He wakes up, seeing his wedding ring which he takes back. His phone starts ringing and he runs out of the room to hear better, and it's his wife. She hears the music and asks what he's doing, and he explains he's with Rell at a strip club and will explain why when she comes back home. She gets suspicious, remarking she didn't think strip clubs were his thing. Suddenly some people walk past him and he puts on the gangster talk, and she asks angrily why he's talking to her like that, but then starts explaining Spencer was being inappropriate to her and will come back home in the morning. Clarence gets worried, and is summoned by Cheddar. Soon after, Cheddar asks them to help him with an exchange tomorrow and will give them both the kitten and $20,000. But then Clarence gets angry, saying nobody breaks a deal with the Allentown brothers, saying they'll give them the goddamn cat now. Rell asks them to get some time to think about the deal and they walk out. Clarence tells Rell he spoke with his wife and that a man is behaving inappropriately to her, making him upset. Rell says he and Keanu need him, that they need to fetch Keanu and get out of there. They run into a back room where they find Keanu. Rell picks him up, saying he loves him, and the two slowly leave the premise, being surprised they could leave too easily. However, Suddenly, two men appear, taking them. The two wake up strapped to chairs. Rell yells at them he'll kill them if they fucking touch one hair on his cat, but then starts screaming as they start picking up weapons and knives. As the Allentown brothers are choosing their instruments to torture them. But then Keanu shows up, starting to scratch Rell's rope and is suddenly freed. He quickly reaches for guns, and helps Clarence get loose. The cousins yell at the brothers to stop walking towards them, but not stopping, Clarence suddenly starts shooting them to death. Clarence starts yelling in shock that they've killed people, but Rell tells him only he killed them. But as the brothers start moving, Rell shoots them to death, remarking that now they've both killed them. They grab Keanu and walk out, but are met by Cheddar. Cheddar says he wants his cat back, but then suddenly hears someone in the trunk of a car parked beside them and Cheddar asks who it is. They open it and see Hulka inside. The two cousins explain that Hulka stole the cat and they got Keanu back for him. Cheddar tells them to kill Hulka and Hulka begs for his life. Rell says he can't do it, and Cheddar says he knew they weren't the Allentown brothers, telling his men to put Hulka in their own trunk instead. He then tells the two that whether they're the Allentown brothers or not, they'll pretend to be the Allentown brothers today. Next up, they arrive at a mansion owned by Bacon Diaz, and Cheddar says he got the two Allentown brothers who killed his cousin, and he wants to collect the bounty. Suddenly Bacon Diaz sees his dead cousin's cat, and Cheddar says the Allentown brothers took the cat. Diaz says he will pay the bounty, but also wants his cousin's cat. Cheddar says he wants to keep the cat, and Diaz says that's a deal breaker. Suddenly they all start shooting at each other, and Clarence and Rell lay down on the ground. Suddenly Clarence sees the gang communicating while shooting, and Rell and Clarence remark that's awesome. High C gets shot, and the two cousins start running to catch the cat. Clarence picks up a gun and starts shooting Diaz's men while Rell gets the cat. And then Rell does his flip in the air while bullets are flying, but eventually gets shot and Diaz takes the cat. The cousins start running after them, and Rell runs to the driver's seat in the car that Diaz sat down in. While Diaz and Rell are yelling at each other in the car, Clarence takes another car parked at the house. Rell asks Keanu if he's okay, and Diaz starts shooting beside his ear. He stands on the brake and Diaz loses his gun. But as Rell starts driving again, he sees Keanu in the car in front of him. Diaz grabs Rell, but then to his rescue Keanu comes jumping straight into Diaz's face. Just as Diaz gets Keanu from his face, Rell crashes the car so that Diaz flies out the window. But as Rell gets out of the car, Diaz picks up a gun. Suddenly Clarence drives Diaz over. The two get happy and remark that was fucking badass. But then Diaz stands up again picking up his gun. Then suddenly he is shot from the back, and Cheddar is heard saying them two have screwed up his whole business, that he was supposed to run this town, and so now he'll kill them. Surprising everybody, High C suddenly tells Cheddar he's under arrest, telling them all to put down their guns. They all put down their guns, but then Cheddar draws another gun and High C shoots him. Police arrive at the scene and tell everybody to freeze, but as Rell hears Keanu in the car, he runs to get him. Keanu licks his face. Suddenly Spencer comes driving with Clarence's wife and daughter, and Clarence walks up to Spencer and punches him in the face. His wife first gets surprised but then gets horny and says she wants him right now, and the two run into the house. Later, High C says her real name is Trina Parker, explaining she's gonna take care of that cat while he goes to jail, but that she will testify on his behalf. In Cheddar's car, someone is yelling, and seen as Hulka yelling for help. 6 months later, Rell is talking to Keanu, saying he and Clarence are seen as heroes there after having killed the Allentown brothers. Clarence's wife asks what he's gonna do to her when they get out in 21 days, and Clarence explains rather figuratively. Trina shows up, saying she took Keanu to the vets and found out he has a rare disease, that he will be a kitten forever. As the two have finished talking to their girls, they join the boys to go have some fun, not knowing that they might not yet be safe. The end. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this, and hit the like button to help us out. Until next time, take care.
'Cause I gotta have faith.